What's up, people? Trying to do a real quick video. This is the Boker Plus Excalibur 1. I think it might be the Decade Edition. I can't remember, but specs real quick. You're looking at a 3.5-inch blade, 8 inches overall length, 4.5-inch handle length. You got a blade stock of 110 thou, 2.5 ounces for weight. Blade steel is S35VN. I got those specs out of Blade HQ. They also have the handle thickness. I don't know which way they're measuring, but it's crazy thin, this knife is. And why I got it down here, just to give a little representation of how thin this knife is behind the edge. It is not 20 degrees behind the edge, but we'll get it up. And I'm still a good portion behind the edge there, so if I can get this a little more precise. A little bit closer to behind the edge. Of course I'm doing this doesn't want to comply. It's not that thick. You're measuring like 15, 10. It thickens up a little bit up here. Not really, but it's thin behind the edge. No, I wasted that time doing that. Crazy thin behind the edge. S35VN steel. You got a carbon fiber handle on one side for the show scale. On the back side, lock side, you got a titanium frame lock. Just plain tie, no steel lock burns or anything like that. Titanium clip, I believe. Carbon fiber back spacer. I bought this knife because I did at one point have like the custom or the high-end production, whatever it is, the South African version from Burger Knives. It was, I will say this, it was definitely constructed way better than this, but it was also like 3 times the price. So it was a very nice knife. I missed how good of a slicer it was, so I picked this up. I love the carbon fiber. The blade is what I really love. Like I said, it's just crazy thin behind the edge, nice thin blade stock. It's a hell of a slicer. Decent steel on this one. This one has S35VN. There's cheaper liner lock versions that have like 440C or something as well if you want something a little cheaper. This one was 120 some bucks. Lockup is solid. Maybe a little wobble in the blade. I could tighten up the pivot, but barely anything, not even really worth saying. Up and down, none. The frame lock, it's a Boker. You know, their lock geometry is suspect to me. That's still pretty of a high of an angle for me. There is no like blade slip or lock rock or anything like that now. Little tiny bit of blade stick on this knife, but barely any. Oh, there you go. Nothing that's punishing to your fingers though. It is a lip opener, which is common for South African knife makers and designers, but you can open it slow. My normal method is just to flick it open like that. So the pros of this knife is it's a great slicer. You got nice materials. It's super lightweight. Again, this is not going to be a hard use knife. I'd say, you know, a medium, light to medium EDC knife. I cut up a bunch of cardboard with it. It cuts great. It's definitely up to that task, but you know, I wouldn't want to get any sideways or any kind of, you know, more tough usage for this. Like I said, it's extremely thin behind the edge, and it's really thin. This is a Spartaco Sage 2 for you know, a little comparison, and I don't think the Sage 2 is really a beefier, thicker knife. It's, you know, not that thick, but it's beefier than this knife. Some of the cons of this knife is, you know, it is super thin. For some people will like that. For me, the ergonomics are good. It's comfortable, but when you're really using it, it kind of moves. You can get a little movement to it just because it's so thin. I like my knives a little bit more girthy. Some smart ass in the comments will say that's what she said, but I just like it for moving around. It just feels better in my hand just to have a little bit more girth. This is almost too thin for me. But that being said, you get a large knife, very capable for, you know, a lot of things in a super slim package, super lightweight. It really, you know, takes up no room in your pocket. The other downside is this pocket clip sucks. The spring tension is crazy on it. I mean, I'm wearing like really light, like that quick dry material shorts, and it's even hard to get it in and out of the pocket with those on. So the clip's a downer. I may bend it or do something with it to get a little bit more loose. Also, the screws to this clip are done in Phillips. You got to make sure, when I converted this from tip down carry to tip up, you got to be really careful. These screws will strip out real easily. It's super soft screws, and I did that very gingerly. So, and I know I've heard other people complain about that. I also am not a big fan of having screws that go straight into the titanium. That can strip out pretty easily. But beyond those factors, you know, the main real drawback to me is the pocket clip is probably the biggest problem. And then, you know, to me, that's an up or down. Some people will love that this is that thin of a knife. For me, it's okay. You know, I honestly would prefer it to be a little bit thicker, but it is what it is. Like I said, super light, good, you know, great steel. 126 bucks is what it is. There's other competitive options out in that range that you might like better. But as far as slicing goes, I mean, it really compares up to like a Opinel. You know, you got way better steel, more modern package. You don't have to carry a broom handle in your pocket. And it slices damn near just as good. You know, this probably still has maybe a slight advantage, but this knife cuts really, really well. So, and like I said, it's a decent, substantial knife. It's pretty long. The ergonomics are good, but like I said, I kind of feel like it's missing something because it's a little thin. But beyond those things, it's a pretty damn good knife so far. Like I said, the lock geometry is sketchy. I will update this video, you know, put something in the comments if anything ever happens to this lock. But action's good. I saw someone else's video, you know, it is not crazy smooth. Another guy's did a bit on it, and his was very smooth. Mine's not like gritty or nasty, and it's actually getting a little more smooth, but I'd say it's about average action. And I know he could open his just by using his thumb on here. I cannot do it unless I do it way down here, and then the blade will rub the lock side. My detent is, you know, grabbing it down there, don't feel that bad, but if you're pulling up here, it's a pretty strong detent. But, and I think that's pretty much it. Centering, if you want to know about that, it is a little off to the lock side. I could probably adjust this knife. I don't really care about it. I bought it to use, so it's not rubbing, and I don't really care, but it is a little off. But as long as it don't rub, I don't really care. So that's that knife in a nutshell. If you're thinking about it, if you like really slicey knives, if that's even a freaking word, but if you like good slicers, it's definitely one to check out. Like I said, it's super thin though. That's might be an upside or downside to you personally. For me, it's a little bit of a downside, but not, you know, a killer. And like I said, something with the clip, you might have to bend or something. It is pretty freaking strong retention. But beyond that, it's a great knife as far as slicing ability, good steel. It's pretty much what I wanted it for, so it'll suffice. But that's that, people. I'm out.